Gabby Agbonlahor, you texted me earlier. I'm just going to, you're going to regret texting me earlier with this. And you went, I'm going well in on Leeds later. I can't wait for work later on. Now listen, Manchester United fans, before you think that we haven't focused on your brilliance today, don't you worry, we have earlier on in the show. But we're going to focus a little bit more on Leeds, because Gabby did make a really good point earlier on that this was a 5-1 defeat. Last season was a 6-2 defeat. You need to kind of learn your lesson, perhaps.
I was saying this last season when I said that Leeds need to change their tactics to different games and they'll get better results, you know. How can you lose 6-2 last season, concede that many goals and have the same tactics this season and the same thing happened, you know, you concede 5. For me, it's naive from Leeds, pushing too many bodies forward, allowing Manchester United to, you know, have that many players go forward, and you having Greenwood 1v1, Pogba 1v1, Fernandes running through the midfield without no one following him. For me, this doesn't make sense, and Leeds are going to get a lot of these defeats this season if they still play like that, because you have to change your tactics for each game. It's different if you were playing Norwich today, you probably get away with that. But when you're playing Manchester United, the first home game of the season, Varane's being showed to the full attendance at Old Trafford, they're always going to be on the front foot. And for me, Leeds need to change the way they play against the bigger teams.
But it does work for them, because they came out for that second half full of intent. Luke Ayling scores straight away, but then they just didn't reset, did they?
Yeah, but I think maybe that goal, great goal from Ayling, but maybe that gave them a bit more enthusiasm, and that worked against them, because it was one touch from Pogba, one ball in behind, and Greenwood goes and scores. That can't happen at Old Trafford. I played at Old Trafford and, you know, grafted results out there. You've got to get players behind the ball. You can't leave that much space in behind against them top players, because they'll pick you apart. So for me, Leeds very naive, and the player that they missed today the most was Phillips, because there was no one following Fernandes, following Pogba. If Phillips was there today, maybe Fernandes wouldn't have had some of the goals that he scored.
He's that buffer, though, isn't he, for their defence? We know the way that Marcelo Bielsa wants his side to play, and as you say, it does pay off.
Yeah.
You know, large parts of the season, but you know, if it depends what the ambition is, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Leeds want to get into Europe, because they're not going to if they're playing the way they're playing in every game. You've got to change the way you play when you play against different teams. Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea. I mean, you can't be leaving Lukaku 1v1 with Cooper at the back. You can't do that, because he's going to destroy you, like Greenwood did today. So if they want to get into Europe and improve on last season, they've got to change the tactics. But I don't think they will. I think they'll go kamikaze and end up losing by 5 goals in more games.
That is great for a neutral, I have to say. I love watching kamikaze
I enjoyed
football.
it today. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I bet you did. Well, I know you did for sure. Let's see whether or not Joe Wainman enjoyed it. He's from the Just Joe football show, focusing on Leeds United. Joe, good evening. I'm sure you're not particularly delighted with Gabby Agbonlahor's assessment of your opening game of the season.
Well, do you know what it is, Faye? When I was asked the question to come on, I checked Villa's result first. If they'd have won, I wouldn't have been here. Do you know what I mean? He'd have been ready, so that's all right. They got beat, so that's all good. It's all fun. But, yeah, look, 11 goals conceded in 2 trips to Old Trafford for a Leeds United fan. That's not good. I think, you know, 12 minutes after we can see we got the equaliser, what a goal by Ayling. We're 4-1 down, you know. Not great, but look, over the course of the season, we'll be okay. We'll be fine, you know. I think, look, the last time we got beat 6-2 by Manchester United, we went on and won the next 2 and conceded 0 goals. Or do I think we'll go beat Everton at home next weekend? Yes, and then away at Burnley, you know. But there is a case maybe. I think, look, you're most vulnerable when you've just scored, and I do think there is a case. You know, I think Gabby made the point of when we've scored that goal, naturally Leeds United will put their foot on the pedal. Right, okay, we're back in this. Let's go get a second. But you know, I think, look, Bruno had a point to prove with the Euros that he had, and he was phenomenal today. I thought Pogba ran the show. You have to hold your hands up. Them two were immense. Did we help them? Yes. You know, Calvin Phillips, as I say, he's a massive miss. I remember that game at Ellen Road, the 0-0. He pocketed Bruno. And then he's missing today. And look, I really like Robin Koch, but when you're asking a centre-back to play CDM against Bruno, who's on the form that he was today, then, it's always going to be tough. And I think the options that we have, the depth that we have, as I say, when one player's injured, sometimes it can be a bit like square pegs in round holes, and we have to move people about. And, like you say, Varane was announced, Old Trafford was bouncing, and once they got into the groove in the second half, it was only going one way, and it's disappointing. Like you say, 11 goals conceded in 2 trips there. It's not easy for me to stomach, but we'll be all right, man.
Well, you've got fans back as well at Ellen Road, and I've been as an away fan to Ellen Road. It's an intimidating place to go, and certainly is for the players when they attend there, and that could work in your favour this season.
Oh yes, 100%. That's what I mean. I fully expect Ellen Road to be bouncing next weekend, and it will give the players a much needed lift after today's performance. I think over the course of the season, I think Chris Wilder said it, and he's not one. He said like a lot of teams got away with it last season, not having a full stadium at Ellen Road, and I have to agree with that. I think a lot of games there, the fans will definitely get us over the line. And just to pick up on what Gabby said earlier about we will have more of this against the top 6 sides. We were the only team last season to not get beat at home by any of the Super 6 sides. So I don't know if I quite agree with that. Look, today it is what it is. We move on. Over the course of the season, we'll be fine, and I dare say we'll finish above Villa. And so there you go.
I'll be coming to watch when we play you at Ellen Road, and I'll be in the Villa end.
Good. I look forward to it, mate. If they do, I can imagine. That'll be fun.
I'll be in fancy dress though, so I don't get recognised. I
have to say, Joe, I was delighted earlier on because Gabby had messaged me before he was 3-0 down to Watford. So we've got a Watford fan coming up later as well. It'd be interesting to hear his thoughts, but great to hear yours. Joe Wayman, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.